Hello, everyone. This is Chris and Sandy, been with the Chris and Sandy Show, where we get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I say on every episode, we've got a great show for you.
We have Brian and Evan from the Sheepdogs. They are one of Canada's most successful bands, amassing a legion of fans worldwide with their rich harmonies, rounded guitar tones, and classic rock influenced sound. All told, the band have scored 9 top 20s, with 6 of those being top fives, and 3 singles taking the #1 spot on Canadian rock radio.
And we're excited to have them on our show.
Yes.
So, welcome to the show.
Yes, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us.
What's up?
So, as we get started here, how has COVID affected y'all and what y'all do? And what have y'all done to kind of maneuver through this crazy maze we have?
Oh, we can't really do anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of affected us in lots of ways. I think, right out of the gate when things got announced, up around COVID and things started shutting down, we were set to make a record and go on a tour and a bunch of different things. And that all kind of got canceled. So, I mean, the initial kind of effect is like you have all these things you're looking forward to and you're planning to do, and that all just went away and kind of just disappears into thin air. So, coming out of that meant that we had to figure out, when we could get together and when we could record and when we could do, different things. And outside of that, I mean, we're very much a live band, and the inability to play, not be able to play proper shows, things like that has been a real challenge. We did a few kind of drive-in shows last year, but, we did, I think, 4 total shows last year, whereas, the years previous, we would do 150 shows or more in a year. So very big difference for sure.
And what are your thoughts, Evan?
It's Ewan, by the way. Just get that.
Oh, Ewan.
Okay.
Oh, it's Ewan.
No worries. Yeah, I don't know. Like, of all the things that are like not really possible during COVID, like rock and roll is so much about being in the room together, whether it's like us as a band being like, eyeball to eyeball jamming, playing together. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or like, if you think about when you go see music live, like it's such a different feeling than listening to it or watching it on the internet or TV. Like when you're in the room, there's just magic happening. And it's not just like witnessing it as a performer, like as performers, we feel the energy from the crowd and it kind of goes back and forth. And, that's of course, you need to have people in a tight space standing shoulder to shoulder. And that's like, the last thing that we're able to do right now.
And I see the future when you look at it. A lot of people have been doing these online concerts where people buy tickets for the online concert. So I think the future is everything's going to be opening back up, and artists are going to be able to do their live concert with people, but they're going to probably stream it for their online fans too now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that my feeling is that a lot of people are going to never want to watch an online concert again after having to be forced to watch it during COVID. I think, anything that's kind of happened this last year is one of those things that I think a lot of people are going to try to forget and avoid. So, but at the same time, it is interesting because it's sort of fast tracked, some people that maybe were, reluctant, even if it's like online shopping, seeing like a huge rise in people being more apt to do online shopping and things like that. In the same way, that's beneficial to us because, we are a live band, but there's a way that we can continue to push out what we do to places, not just where we're playing that night, but maybe there is a market for people to watch live stream, or maybe there's more people that are going to consume music online. That definitely helps us out. So I think it is, it's fast tracked some people that maybe were reluctant to. Some of them said, I'd never watch a show online, and somebody does. So yeah, I mean, I think we're really open to it. Any way that we can continue to get our word out there on us is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like for our show, we launched January 2020, right before the pandemic. And our original plan was 100 interviews our first year, and we thought we'd be pushing it if we could do that.
Oh,
and then
absolutely.
COVID happens. And I told Sandy, I was like, what? I kept watching everything get shut down. I was like, this could be our silver lining. Because we were a virtual show. I was like, what? We just need, artists like y'all are going to need a place to talk, and we're going to give them that platform. And because of that, we stepped everything up, and we did over 300 interviews last year, and with almost 400 now.
Amazing. Well, yeah, there you go. That's a
Wow.
perfect example. And, it's great. It's, allows us to be able to, have a good outreach too, where we can be in different cities and we don't have to be in a city to do press. And, people are looking more to the internet to be able to
Yep.
consume that stuff now too, which is cool.
So tell us about your new EP, No Simple Thing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's excuse me. We decided to do a little EP as opposed to a big album, just because it's such an uncertain time in terms of like, putting out a record and then trying to promote it, obviously via doing things like this. But it's 6 songs. It's rock and roll, which is kind of in the style of what we've always been doing, and like we kind of are unabashed fans of old school rock and roll, like the classic era. Like going back to the days of guitar solos and mustaches and that kind of stuff. Like it's we're not real precious. It's like feel good type of music. Where it's like
Made
real,
me think
like
of that
soul.
old time rock and roll song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Bob Seger.
Bob Seger.
Yeah, I graduated from the University of Bob Seger, so but yeah. Well, someone asked a question. Are we supposed to read these questions? Can we see this?
She said, is she a top fan yet? I'm guessing of our show because she's on our show.
Yeah, we love Emily. Hi, Emily.
I thought you meant, am I a ZZ Top fan? The answer is correct. No, basically we're like a bunch of dudes that just loved like classic old school music. And when we were going out as young guys, 19, 20, to go see bands play, it was all this like sort of punk or sort of like emo stuff that wasn't really our taste. So we wanted to start making music that was like our vibe. And then however many years later, we made a career out of doing it, because it turns out there's a lot of people who love that kind of music. And so it's just like feel good rock and roll music, harmonies, guitar solos. Ryan, what am I leaving out here?
That's pretty much it. I mean,
right?
That's kind of what we did. Yeah. I mean, when it comes to like making this new EP, we did it at a time when we had been apart for quite a long time, probably the longest in the career. We've been a band for a very long time, and we hadn't been apart for a long time. So we got all together and made this record all in the same room, with the idea being like putting some of that energy in there. And I think for us, we want to come across that honestly. We don't want to put it on, but like you had said, we make the music that we really like and we put it out there. And that's a lot of what we did on this EP too.
And isn't that what it's supposed to, I know that some people may hate me for this, at least some people that are trying to mask things, and pun intended. But, music from the artist should be music that they love. It shouldn't be music for other people, because you'll find your audience.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I mean, music is a business, to be plain, and the changing landscape of music, especially since the internet, kind of came out knocking, has meant that it's, a little trickier. You got to hustle a little harder on the non-music side of things. But I mean, look, it's no secret that there's a lot of people out there that are just making music for money. But, it's pretty great when you can kind of have it both ways, like we really love what we do, and being able to sell tickets and sell records and get streams. It's nice to feel confident that like the music that we're putting out to is like, we're proud of it and we dig it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's changed a lot, because when you added the streams part in there,
has
I'm not going to say it's for the positive and negative, but it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny because we started as a band in 2004, just young guys making music, and even the landscape of how that's changed in the last 17 years is drastic. I mean, people listen to music on their phones and stuff like that, but at the same time, like, it's pretty remarkable how you can, it used to be traditionally you needed to have a record label in Austria that's going to be pushing your music out there. And instead, if somebody likes rock and roll music, they can discover you and consume you and, and be turned on to you. So it's a way that, while there are drawbacks, it also is level the playing field in a lot of ways for people to just, if people are fans of a certain type of music, no matter how niche it is, there's a platform for them to discover it. Whereas, growing up myself, and I imagine you guys too, it's like we lived in a small city in the middle of nowhere. So if you wanted someone to tell you, that'd be like a friend or a friend's brother, or like a dude at a music store that'd be like, you got to check this out. Like that was the only way you could really discover music.
You don't necessarily have to move now.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you and I, when high school, were in high school when Napster became a thing, and it kind of changed the way that you could discover music. I mean, now people with YouTube and streaming and stuff, you can really go down a rabbit hole and discover all different types of music. And that's definitely a positive thing. That being said, I mean, big difference, being a rock band now and being a rock band in 1971, where you can make millions of dollars selling records. That doesn't necessarily happen as easily. But
the money's made in the tours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, touring's where the money's at for sure.
But, and that was the tough part for y'all because touring is where the money's at, and then COVID takes that away.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in theory we won't always be living with COVID, so
thank God.
I can't wait to put it in their old rear view there.
Here in the U.S., the CDC just yesterday made the announcement that if you're vaccinated, no more masks. So we're getting there.
We're happy about that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty reasonable to me. Unfortunately we're up here in Canada. We're a little behind.
Now, do y'all do shows in the U.S. too, or just Canada?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we've toured kind of all over the world, and we've been to the U.S. lots. I mean, that's kind of we're up here in Canada. We come down there all the time. It's one of those things where in America we're maybe not as well known as we are in Canada, but there's definitely pockets of people that are aware of us, and keep pushing that out there as much as we can.
Well, we're open here now, so y'all come on.
Yeah.
You guys are in Nashville, is that right?
Well, we're planning on moving to Nashville. So we're in Savannah. There. We're actually based in Savannah, Georgia right now.
Yeah, we're in Georgia.
But we're eventually moving to Nashville.
Nice.
Savannah's cool. I've never been there, but it looks amazing. We played Nashville many times, of course, and Atlanta as well. But,
wow. So as y'all know, a lot of people, they see the glory of like ZZ Top, Def Leppard, and all the major artists, but they don't see the grind, the struggles, the tears that it takes, not just to get to their level, but even a career level within music. And I always want to talk about that side of it because I think a lot of people sugarcoat this side of it, but it's a grind and a sacrifice. So let's go there a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the sacrifices y'all have made through the years and the struggles y'all have had to get to where even you're at now.
Yeah, well, I mean, for starters, like when we started as a band, we were playing. We're from a city called Saskatoon, which is in Saskatchewan, which is like sort of north of Montana, North Dakota. So it's very it's very isolated and it's a big province. We don't have states, but it's like not very many people there. Like I think it's the size of Texas, but there's like 1 million people there in the entire place. And so we kind of like starting off in the middle of nowhere. We would drive really, really far distances, in our van to go play in like Toronto and like big cities and stuff.
Yeah.
And in those early days, it was a lot of like learning how to run a business, like what do we do to put gas in the car? How do we get booked at shows? You just like call up a guy at a bar or you email a bar and get booked. And it's all these series of little steps that you got to take that sort of lead up to the eventually also along the way, I should mention we sucked. So we had to like play a lot of shows to like slowly get better. But, as we got better at playing, we learned a little bit of, business along the way. And it was really good because once we started to do big stages and start to get big opportunities, it wasn't like we were all wide eyed. I mean, we were a little bit, but like we had, got our reps in, as they say. Like you kind of warmed up to it. Yeah.
But I think it's really important too. I mean, so much of, like you said, there's not to sugarcoat it. I mean, that's like driving long distance in a van, sleeping on couches, or sleeping in a parking lot in your van. Like, in Canada, it's like trying to get to a show and driving through a blizzard that's through the mountains, or, those things. But I think on top of that, it's that, very, very rarely do you play in a bar and there's like that guy that's like, you guys got it, I'm going to take you to the top. Like that doesn't really happen. So,
yeah.
I mean,
would be nice.
Like one of my favorite stories, speaking of that, was a guy in Nashville singing a song, and an unknown person walks in and tells him, I like this song and I'm in Nashville to get a deal. And when I get a deal, I'm going to cut that song. and that was Garth Brooks telling the songwriter for the dance.
That's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
Nashville's like that though. I mean, Nashville, you can walk into any bar in Nashville where music's going on, and it's like you'll see one of the best players you've ever seen, and they're probably getting paid $100 to just do it, right? It's like, that's a perfect example. I mean, that's there's no real like path to it, but then it's about like luck and putting in effort and kind of doing your thing and building your story and all those types of things. It's but at the same time, it's you do it because you love it. It's no different than if you want to become a football player and you spend all your time training, or if you want to become an accountant, you work really hard in school to become an accountant, whatever that thing is. And so for us, it's that thing where we were eye on the prize, focused on what we do. But it did, for us, it took many, many, many years before even really getting a little bit of traction to happen. So that was a lot of that sleeping on couches and driving in a van.
And that's like, and see, we get where y'all are coming from, because we're chasing that same dream but a different platform, because we want to be the Bobby Bones, the Ty Bentleys, the Kelly Clarkson shows out there down the road. So we've been really hammering it down. Like I said, we've done 400 interviews. We probably put in 40 hours a week specifically for the show, and it don't make money yet.
Yeah, this is a great job. We have to do a great job.
So we're having to balance. We're having to do side gigs here and there to stay afloat, and we're trying to build this brand. That's why I love having people in entertainment come on, because they really get what we go through, and we get what they go through. I think it's a really great synergy.
Yeah, I mean, most everyone has some story of, starting with, like you said, like you got to moonlight, you got to work regular jobs. Like, I don't know, we have been a band for 17 years, and the first 7, we were all working jobs until we finally were able to quit, because we made it enough to quit. But I mean, look, it's like if you really want to do it, you'll go through that period, and if you don't, then you'll give up and you'll do something else, or you'll just be a schmo working in a box factory.
like I remember a quote that said, if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So let's flip the script the other way now. We talked a little bit about the sacrifice and the struggle side. Let's talk about the glory side. Tell us a few moments where you're like, wow, we as a band got to do that.
Ryan, you got any?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's lots of things. I mean, it goes from small things like we got to play various festivals and things that we always wanted to go to, like Coachella or Lollapalooza or Glastonbury Festival or Bonnaroo in Tennessee. I mean, being on a stage and seeing your name on the same bill in the backstage area with some people that are like your heroes and things like that. I mean, that's incredible. But at the same time, there's like some great moments that are very simple, like talking about how people could find your music anywhere. I mean, when you're a musician, you don't really know who's listening to your music. Like, I know who I'm listening to, but I don't know who's listening to our songs or whatever for the most part.
Yeah.
But then, we go to somewhere like Germany or France, and you can't speak to anyone because you don't speak the language, but yet they all sing your songs back to you, and those aren't like moments that are like monumental, but they're moments that are special because you see someone who can't speak English or barely speak English that's singing your songs back at you while you're performing on stage, and like that's a pretty cool moment. That's a very glorious moment. That you're seeing that your music is reaching somebody even who speaks a different language. So yeah, no, I think there's lots of things like that. I mean, we've got to share the stage with lots of really cool people. We've got to record in cool places and see our record in cool places and stuff like that. See our songs in movies and TV shows and paired with sports and things like that. But yeah, there's a lot of different things we can go on that side of things.
Any other thoughts for you?
Yeah, for me, it's like Ryan ran down a great list, but I guess it would be like, I grew up a real music nerd, like listening to albums, reading history of rock and roll and like biographies and like just learning about all the different bands and different movements and styles. So like I'm a real nerd. So like when I don't know, like somebody posted recently like a picture where they had all of our albums, like even like this little singles and rarities and stuff. it's just cool because it's like, you know, anyone can like get a CD made and then they have like, you know, 900 copies in their bedroom closet or whatever. But like, it was just really cool that like, you know, the people care enough about it, you know, music that we make, that they're like collecting it. And it's just the fact that we have all these albums that we've made. It's just really cool. Like I feel like I'm a real life, you know, musician or something. It's hard to believe still this many
Being
years
in the industry so long, what's surprised you the most?
Famous people are short. I'm 6'3", and I'm like, anytime we meet a famous person, they're like 5, like an actor or something. They're like 5'7" or something.
I'm 5'7", so I guess I've got that for me.
You got it, man.
There you go. You're ready to be a celebrity. That's great.
It looks so big on screen, right? Like they just looks, you know, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, and I think that you know, people are always like, "Wow, you guys are so tall." I mean, to me, I don't feel like I'm tall. I'm only 6 feet tall, but we meet a lot of people. They think we're like a big, tall band. So unless we're hanging, you know, we have a few friends who have played like in the NBA and stuff. That's a different story. We feel small in those situations.
Most definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. So as y'all know, a lot of people, they see y'all as the artist, but they don't see the teams behind y'all. And in our opinion, they don't get the love they deserve. So on our show, they do. So if you want to take a few moments just to tell us about the team that helps y'all do what you do.
I'd like to introduce you to Ryan Gullen here. Yeah, Ryan's not just our bass. He's not just our bass player. He also is our manager.
Oh, wow.
So on that front, we got kind of a unique situation where we got managed within the band,
which is good.
It is good.
Yeah. Ryan, who else do we have?
Well, I mean, I was gonna say we do a lot of things ourselves. Like Ewan produces our records. You know, I do the management. We do like a lot of different our own video stuff. I mean, we basically have always been in the mindset that like no one's gonna care as much as you. So you know, find people to work with that will help you execute those things. But you know, you're gonna put the most work forward. So you know, we have obviously people at our label that, you know, help us put things out, you know, between, you guys would have talked to Dave Stelling, our publicist, Maria Galisi is like our marketing manager, our project manager. You know, Steve Cody is our radio guy.
Tom Darcy, you shut up.
Yeah. Tom Darcy, you know, does a lot of stuff for us audio wise. Matt Dunlap is, you know, our photographer and does all our design work and all those types of things. You know, we have agents, you know, in, you know, different territories, Alex Bruford and, you know, Pete and Julian. But yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of it, we've sort of like made a good team of good people that can kind of like help us out, but we sort of steer the ship as much as possible because that's what we want. We want to see our vision, you know, come to life, not have, you know, other people sort of clouding that. So.
And that's key. You know, a lot of people don't get this, but that's key is when you're building that team, you know, I think it's good for artists to do it all themselves at the beginning because now you know what to look for in team members because you want the team members that believe in your vision, not you, their vision.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think, I think it's like, you're never going to know how you want things done until you do it. It's like, a lot of young artists, when I talk to them and they ask me about who should I get to be our manager? Who should I get to be our agent? And I'm like, don't, like, do it yourself. And so, you know, you're never going to hold people accountable to what you want until you know how to do it. Like, you're not going to be able to do it. So we've had many people work for us over the years and different things like that. And the key has always been that we have an idea of what we want and we sort of know how to get there so we can kind of push it that way. Because I think, you know, we booked all our own shows before we had an agent, you know, managed the band before we had various managers. And, you know, I think that's really important. And it's in any walk of life. I think it's important if you're going to be, you know, hiring people, you know, you definitely want to have an idea of what you want them to do.
Yep. There's a question. What was the muse for Keep Loving You?
Yeah, we have a new single. It's called Keep On Loving You. Yeah, I forgot what the title was for a second. Well, it's just kind of about, like, you know, when you have a love that's very important, and it's like threatened by something, what are you going to do to kind of stand up and protect it? It's very vague, but I want people to be able to apply it to their lives however it is applicable. And it's like we all have things that we love, and at times, something might happen catastrophic.
Oh, he froze up.
Oh, might have lost him. I can pick up where he left off.
Are you there?
Yes.
Oh, there you are.
We hear you now.
You're frozen now.
He froze again.
Froze again.
Oh.
So you can go.
Sure. Yeah, no, I was just talking about, the idea of, fighting for that thing that maybe you don't realize that, maybe you don't realize you love something as much as you do. And then when you almost lose it, you have to fight for it and kind of, that kind of idea.
Love that. Now, are you back?
No, I think he's still frozen.
Gotta love that. That's the one crazy thing about technology.
It is.
It's great when it works, and it's horrible when it don't.
Yes.
I know. I mean, it's also being live, so you can, you gotta roll with the punches on that.
Right. Maybe he's got a better connection.
There you are.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was giving this grand explanation. Was that your all's way of telling me to shut up, or what's going on?
The universe.
That's funny. And speaking of team members, we have a third co-host, our little 9-year-old that we bring on the show to ask a few questions. So Sandy's gonna go get him real quick.
Yes, I will get him.
Okay.
And we've got a 2-year-old daughter that when she gets older, she'll be plugged in the show too, because we are a family affair.
I love it.
And what's funny is we even created the name Family Affair Media for the company.
Oh, that's amazing, man. Got the family all together. That's great.
Yeah, it's like we had a company we called Full Beard Company.
That makes sense.
There you go. Yeah. That's our family.
Gotta love that. So while we're waiting on them, what's a crazy moment that's happened?
Oh man, I never know what to say to these because it's like there's some stuff that happens that's pretty ribald. But I mean, if I'll keep it a little more not so dark, but we've had a lot of stuff happen where we especially in our early years, we spent so much time driving around in vans, and we would just get either we'd break down all the time, or we'd get our windows smashed out, and just like constantly getting broken into and stuff stolen. And, fun stuff like that. All right, new dude.
Yes. Hi, you and Ryan. So, what's your favorite food?
All right, good question. I love food. I love Vietnamese food. I eat that food more than anything else, like pho or pho, as they say, like the noodle soup.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
I think my favorite is Thai food. So I'll go with a different. Yeah, definitely love me some Thai food.
And what's yours?
Mine is pizza.
Nice.
Very solid food. I love pizza.
Yeah,
good pizza.
Okay, so what's your favorite TV show?
I think my favorite TV show is Curb Your Enthusiasm. You ever seen that one? That's a good one. Larry David.
Oh, wow.
That's my favorite.
I think I'd go with you probably haven't seen this one because you're a little too young, but The Sopranos is my favorite show.
That's a good one.
You'll watch it when you're older.
SpongeBob.
Nice. I like SpongeBob.
Nice.
I dressed up as SpongeBob for Halloween one year. It was
wow.
You did last
And he
year.
did last year.
Yeah.
Nice. That's great.
And of course, everybody knew who he was.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what's been cool with our show is because we bring on artists and actors both. That he watches a lot of Nickelodeon shows.
Sure.
So we've been able to bring on a lot of people from his shows onto our show.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
Next.
Okay, what's your favorite movie?
That's a good question. It changes a lot because
I know I'm not very good at. I don't really have a favorite. I'd say I have so many different ones that I like.
I really like. I like The Godfather. How about that?
That's a good
classic.
Classic.
I think one of my favorites is Gran Torino.
Ooh.
Oh,
Clint,
good one.
yeah.
What's yours?
Mine is the Minion movie.
Minion.
Nice. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Okay. Haven't
He
seen that one.
loves the Minions.
Yes, and actually, I'm gonna be dressed up as a Minion this year.
For Halloween.
All right.
Halloween.
So he's going to be a
That's
Minion this
great.
year. Our 2-year-old will be a little princess. So this year,
Yeah.
while we can control that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Bye, thanks.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
meet you.
Yeah, he's been in almost every episode, and he gets upset when he can't be on an episode.
Oh, yeah. He
That's
loves it.
great.
So, if y'all could co-write with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
That's a good question. Man, I don't know. Like, I think that Paul McCartney is like probably my favorite songwriter.
Well,
Yeah.
And he's just, I mean, the guy's written like 200 good songs. So him or he's passed away. Leon Russell is just like is a hero of mine. And just a wild man from Tulsa, and just a really great songwriter and interpreter. And then maybe I go Alan Toussaint, who was from New Orleans and produced like everybody from like the Meters to Dr. John. Played on like Fats Domino's records and like I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those guys.
Yeah, well, Ewan's the songwriter in the band, so I'll let him answer that question. I agree.
So, this probably has 1,000 answers.
Oh, at least.
What is a song you've heard that you wish y'all wrote?
I think it's got to be real. I feel like it's got to be a simple song. I think like "Proud Mary" by John Fogerty from Creedence wrote that one. It's just so simple, really simple lyrics and chords. But that's kind of the beauty of it when it's like, oh, that's not hard to write at all. But like, yeah, you write it.
But yet there it is.
Just,
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah.
It's like that's what to me that's the beauty, and it just says it really like in a few words. It really evokes like a time, a place, a feeling. It's just kind of a master class instead of like understated songwriting.
Awesome. So, where do y'all want to be in 5 years? What's the plan?
Hopefully not doing Zooms and out on stage.
Yeah. I mean, I think what we always want to be doing is just moving things forward. So continue doing what we're doing. I mean, there's not really any sort of aspirations that like, well, in 5 years, we want to have our own TV show or we want to be actors in movies or whatever. I mean, it's always been the same. We want to just keep doing what we're doing it on a bigger scale and finding more people that are like-minded, that like the same music we do, and keep making money doing so we can keep moving that forward.
Love that.
Right. And how would you describe your music to someone who's never heard it before?
It sounds like Friday night. This first cracking of a beer on a summer barbecue combined with I don't know. I'm all over the place. Ryan, bring it home.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, we like to say we make good time rock and roll. So if it pairs well with the good time, so whatever that good time is for you, whenever you're like not doing your job and you're kicking back and enjoying it, and being from Canada, so much is focused around summer because it's pretty damn cold up here in the wintertime. Right. So we often pair ourselves with that that idea of being in the backyard, with your family and friends and having some beers or cooking out or whatever. It's like that kind of thing.
Love that. And what would you all like your legacy to be? What would you ultimately like to be known and remembered for?
I think just sort of the ultimate would be like a beautiful body of work in terms of like records and albums and songs, but also like memorable live shows. So it's really about the two, I guess. Like, oh man, I love this album, that album, this song, and when they did this, and then I saw them play here, it was tremendous. I saw like I want those memories because that's like our favorite bands. It's always like favorite records, favorite shows.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's all about kind of like not striving for that, like, oh, the most records sold or the, whatever, the most number ones or anything like that. For us, the victories are just being able to continue what we do
Doing what you
and,
love.
yeah, and being respected for it, having people, having an impact on people through what we do and being proud of what we do. I think, for us, that's what it's all about.
So outside of music, what do y'all like to do? Hobbies and stuff.
I like cooking and I like grilling, and I really like football. I'm very into American football. That you have down there.
Who's your favorite team?
I root for the Raiders. So they moved to Vegas now, but it's kind of an arbitrary pick. Like, people in Canada usually just sort of pick a team to cheer for, and away they go.
Yeah. No, we're both into sports. I love baseball. Obviously Toronto Blue Jays is our team, being the Canadian team. I'm really into motorcycles. I own a couple motorcycles, and I'm a terrible mechanic, but I try to do what I can with them. And outside of that, I enjoy the same things. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy, I do a lot of video kind of stuff. So I'm really into different kind of types of videography and things like that, making things for other friends' bands or other friends or whatever, that kind of stuff. So there's stuff that I do.
Well, I love that. So let's say you had a friend of yours and you heard him or her sing, and they've got something special. As Simon Cowell would say, they have that it factor. Let's say they've played 40 or 50 shows, so they're still getting their feet wet on the performance side. Now, this would be pre-COVID advice, and keep that in mind. Always got to kind of but they've gotten on stage. They got what every artist says, that stage bug, where they look over the crowd's roaring for them, and they just know they're in the right place. And they come to y'all, and they say, I know I am supposed to do this with the rest of my life. What advice would you give that specific person to kind of help guide them the next few years?
I mean, this is very vague, but it's hard to be specific when it's just a hypothetical, I guess. But just do it. Like, go and do it. Like, you can do all the like researching or like, who should I talk to, or it's good to ask advice and those kinds of things, but you got to do it. You got to go out and make mistakes and learn from them, and just, you got to get your reps. Like I said, like you're gonna learn way more doing it that way. And if you plug away, you're going to just learn so much, whether it's just sort of that, like all the little things you learn along the way, whether it's business or even your craft. Learning to perform live requires a lot of it's nervous, or nerve wracking. So you need to kind of learn the ins and outs of that. Like, the first times you go on stage, you're all like, oh, what do I say between songs? What do I do with my hands and everything? And it's like, now you just go on stage and you're just on stage, you're comfortable, you just got to do it, man. You got to get out there and do it.
Totally. And I think that you're going to learn so much more. A lot of people will kind of wait and, be like, I'm going to wait for the right show, or wait for the right tour, or wait for the right record producer to make a record. But, it's not worth waiting around. It's better to just get out there and do it, and make mistakes. It's better to make mistakes when no one's paying attention than making mistakes when people are paying attention. So go out there and make mistakes while you can, and nobody's going to be complaining about it. I think that's really important. I think, like you said, plan a show and you'll see another songwriter, and that will help you with your craft, or you'll see another, you'll meet somebody that will add, you got to build that story. It's like there's a web of things that are going to lead you to what, where you're going. It's important to kind of start spinning that web for sure to get yourself to where you end up.
That's like our show. The whole 2019, I kept saying we're going to launch a show, and we procrastinated that whole year
so long.
Finally, at the end of the year, I was like, you know what? In December, let's set a date, January, and we picked January 3rd because my mom passed away years ago, and her birthday is January 3rd. I was like, you know what? We're going to launch January 3rd,
a date with significance,
2020, and we're gonna honor her in that show. So I felt like if I did that, I wouldn't back out of it.
Yeah, we would change the date.
And we just did it. And like you said, every show you do, we've learned a little here, a little there. I've learned what to ask, what not to ask, just different things through the years. And so you don't do that until you do it.
That's how you do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's good, and I think nothing like the present. I mean, it's good and important to like think about what you're going to do and things like that. But no, I agree. I think that's the way to go. I mean, you're only going to get that experience if you go out there and do it.
And like they say, if you're every successful person has to fail. So if you're going to fail anyway, fail fast and fail often so that you reach success at a faster pace.
100%. And you're going to fail at some point. It's just part of it. Yeah.
Y'all do.
So tell everybody how they can reach out to you and connect with you.
Sure. I mean, we're everywhere you get music. So we're on all the different streaming and YouTube and everything like that. Facebook, Instagram, everything. It's all just the Sheepdogs on all those things. And yeah, we got lots of, if this is the first time you're hearing about us, we got many albums worth of music to explore. And then also we have a new record coming out May 28th. That's 6 new songs. And one of those songs, Keep on Loving You, is out right now. So that's where you can find us. We're everywhere you find other musicians and music.
So any final words for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a final question for you guys. Is that brick wall real?
No,
it's not.
TV magic.
It's a green screen.
Green screen.
My backdrop looks not as good as yours. It's just like raw.
Yeah, and in fact, what's funny about this is with the StreamYard, you can even do this. See if you which has been crazy, but I could see there. We can be in Nashville too.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, there you go.
But for now until in fact, eventually I'll probably put sponsors up here.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
In that space.
Because there's a lot you can do with the back wall, so that way we can show the sponsors, hey, we're trying to help y'all out, so they can keep them on board eventually.
No, that's great. Yeah, right on.
Looks like there's one last question.
Yes.
Oh. Well, you know what NHL team do we like? This is an embarrassing thing because when you're a Canadian, you're supposed to like hockey, and neither you and I are big hockey fans. I grew up playing hockey, but I sort of like grew out of it after I think I played hockey till I was about 14, and I stopped. When I was a kid, though, the Vancouver Canucks were my team. But yeah, again, we were from a town that didn't have its own NHL team, so you kind of just, much like you said about football, you kind of just picked a team. So yeah, Vancouver Canucks were my team back in the day.
My old man was a Canadiens fan, so he is. I made him sound like he's dead. He's still alive. He's a Canadian. He likes Montreal, so go Habs.
Yeah. Awesome. And we really enjoyed having you on the show today. We look forward to having y'all back down the road for more updates.
Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate it, guys. Good luck with the show. We'll look forward to come back and see it grow.
Sounds great.
Sounds great.
Look forward to it.
All right. Take care.
Thanks.